I have a lot of lessons like learned from this. And I've gotten to the point where I no longer see Lazerpay as a failure, but I see us as we did our best and we learned lessons, right? We actually learned hard lessons. So I would call it like lessons instead of failure, right? Yeah, I have a lot. I remember one time, so there's this book I read while going through all this stuff, hard things about hard things. I started reading it like this year. But when I traveled to London, a friend, CEO of Lorry System, he saw me. I was like a total mess. So that was when I was like trying to raise money. And he hugged me for 5 minutes. And he was like, I can see that you're going through. He now recommended the book. Say, read this book, Hard Things About Hard Things. But then in spur of the moment, I need money. I don't want to like to read any book. So I like dropped the book one side and then went on to that stuff. But later, Yele recommended it again. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm not looking for money, so I can actually read it. And that was when I started getting comfortable with the fact that we're going to like, the company. So back to lessons. So I would say there are actually like a huge ton of lessons I've actually learned from this. I think I learned how to not do things again. One key one for me was that if I was like start this again, the way I was like taking product development, I'll take business development and sales that seriously. It doesn't have to be enterprise sales. I'll take BD, and business development is not just about selling to enterprise, right? Business development is also looking at like your market, tweaking business models, adding like talking to the product team as well. Basically, building that like very intertwined and like close relationship between the business development team and like the product team. So I had this definition of product-led growth in my head. And I thought I was like creating like a product-led growth organization. And then as I started like reading stuff and started experiencing like these things, it now became clear that, oh fuck, I've been doing the wrong thing. Where I was abstracting product development from BD and sales, but in the real sense of product-led growth, sales, BD, compliance, regulations, growth marketing, everything had to come down to product development. So product development needed to be at the center of all these things happening. That's literally the definition of product-led growth. They're not saying ignore BD or ignore sales. They're like at the center of your product organization needs to be at the center of every other thing happening. That no product is going to go out there without the BD team saying, oh, how can we tweak this business model to work? And regulations is like, oh no, like in this market, we'll potentially run into like XYZ issues, right? Why don't we try all that stuff? So it was like we're just building, right? There wasn't this close relationship between BD and product team. So next time, the way I take product building seriously, I'm going to take business development, business operations really seriously as well. So I think like founders should not like ignore that part of the business, because a great product without a good business model or a good business is a bad business in general, right? And you're not just building a product, you're building a business. So founders should actually like, and me myself, if I'm starting on that thing again, like that would be like the first lesson I'm bringing to what I'm building next. So I would say the second hard lesson was actually like around high bond pretty much, right? Was that we didn't need to spend that much to achieve what we wanted to like achieve. When I look back at it in retrospect, I'm like, we could have actually achieved the same thing with a team of 10 people and not like a team of 25 people, right? The problem wasn't even how much I was paying, how much we're paying salaries. I think when the media thing came out and we're like, oh, why are you paying this much? I'm like, they have to be very comfortable. So it wasn't really about how much we're spending on employees, but it was more around like the number of employees needed to actually take, again, and that's why it's the other lesson I talked about, like, whenever you're taking money or whenever you're starting a business, you need to like know where you want to be in like the next 1 year, next 2 years. Like that goal must be very clear. And it's like when that goal is set, it's like, what do we need to get here? And how much will it cost for us to get to like this point? And track every single data. No data should be left untracked, right? Monitored, right? Track every single thing and make sure that you're actually like on track to actually achieving your goals. The goal remains the same, but like what you do daily is very important. So that guy will actually affect and control how much you spend, and you don't have to like hire 25 people. That's what we need to like get to X points to make XYZ is 2 people, is 3 people, right? These are like the number of people that we need to like get that stuff done. So that's very, very important as well. Having a sense of where you want to be in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and planning based on that. So we didn't really need that much people on the team. So that's another core lesson that was like learned. High bond, not necessarily just because, oh, you want to make your bond $1,000, right? It's what do I need to do to get to X point? If it's $100,000 you need to get to that point, then you know that it's clear that it's $100,000 you need to get to that point. If it's $1 million, if it's $10 million, right, this is the amount of money I need to like get to that point and make sure data is actually tracked. That's the lesson I learned from the experience. And so those are like the two core lessons I'm going to talk about. And then another lesson I learned that we applied, which I'm going to apply again and apply over again, is the lesson of communicating with your investors, being totally transparent and being totally like open with whatever you're actually like doing within the organization, right? It's not like without your team and without everybody being in the know of what's going on, like then that's like the beginning of chaos in your organization, right? That's something that like we're very open, we're very transparent. That's something like we did really well, and we prioritized our customers as well. So that's also something great that we actually like did well. Like our customers were like number one on our funnel, right? So we prioritize them, make sure that they never, if they run into any issues, we like fix instantly, we listen to them and iterate as we go. So we actually had a very good structure with listening to customers and making the product and the platform work for them.